Hello summoners and welcome back to another ProGuides mid-patch analysis video. My name is Christoph and today I'll be going over all the strongest champions using fresh statistics to give you guys the most accurate and best tier lists available. We encourage all of our viewers to comment on our tier lists and say if you agree or disagree with us on certain champions. Also, as a reminder, we'll now be adding the newly reworked champions such as Sylas, Mordekaiser, and Ryze to our tier lists, so make sure to stay tuned for that. A lot has changed since the beginning of the patch, and there's so much that we need to cover. But before we get started, make sure to check out ProGuides.com if you want to see massive improvements to your rank. We have a new feature called InstaPro, which provides 24/7 on-demand coaching by pro players. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. The top lane tier list for our mid-patch update sees a few changes compared to the one we had at the start of the patch. Sitting at the top of our tier list in our S+ tier, we have the newly reworked Mordekaiser. Mord has re-entered the Rift with a whopping 55% win rate, which is one of the highest win rates we've ever seen from a new champion. Even with the well-deserved hotfix nerf, which was made to his kit a few days ago, Mordekaiser is still sitting on his S+ throne. He is by far the strongest top laner in the game right now and is in dire need of some nerfs. In our S tier, we have Aatrox, Tahm Kench, Riven, Vladimir, and Jax. Aatrox received a small nerf to his passive and ultimate healing at the start of patch 9.12, and our challenger analysts were spot on in dropping him down into our S tier. Although he's still an extremely powerful pick, he's just not as strong as he was in 9.11. Irelia also received some small nerfs this patch, and our analysts were correct once again in dropping her down to the B tier. Although she's still a very powerful pick in the right hands, Irelia is now only a B tier pick for the average player. It might come as a surprise to see Akali's win rate increase by 3 to 4% this patch. Do not be fooled by this. Akali is still a D tier pick at best in the top lane, and the sudden increase in win rate just means that the average Akali players have dropped her from their champion pools. Her pick rate did decrease by a significant amount, and it's safe to say that only Akali mains are playing this champion this patch. Karma and Neeko have been added to our A tier in our mid-patch analysis tier list. Karma received a simple buff this patch, but it ended up having a huge impact on her stance in the meta. The extra slows combined with her increased movement speed have turned her into the perfect top lane bully, and you should definitely try her out in your next few games. Lastly, let's talk about Sylas. Sylas received a mini rework at the start of patch 9.12, and he's going to be placed at the bottom of our tier list in our F tier. He has a 40% win rate in the top lane, which pretty much guarantees that he is the worst champion in the game for solo queue. Nerfing a champion's wave clear in a lane priority focused meta will cause them to drop in win rate significantly. However, the biggest nerf made to his kit this patch was on his E. Reworking the shield has pretty much gutted him entirely, and you should avoid playing Sylas in 9.12. Alright, let's move on to the jungle. The jungle tier list remains pretty similar to the one we had previously at the start of the patch. Our analysts were almost spot on in predicting the jungle meta, and the vast majority of our placements were very accurate. In our S tier, we have Hecarim, Evelynn, Elise, Vi, Sejuani, Nunu, and Kayn. These 7 champions are a notch above the rest and will give you the competitive edge you need to out-jungle any opponent. For patch 9.12, our analysts recommend you pick up Kayn in the jungle. With tanky picks such as Sejuani and Nunu seeing more play, Red Kayn is the perfect pickup to counter this meta. If you want to learn more about how to counter the meta, then check out our previous video on the best counter picks for patch 9.12. Some notable A tier picks for this patch are Kha'Zix and Kindred. These two champions are so close to making the small push to S tier and will likely be there in the coming weeks. Try them out and let us know how that goes down below. Alright, now on to the mid lane, and before we get into the mid lane, I want to let you guys know that we have a wonderful mid lane course with former pro player Hai. He talks about lane priority and all the important things that you need to know to get better at the mid lane. The mid lane tier list sees a couple of changes, including the addition of Sylas, Mordekaiser, and Ryze. In our S tier, we have Zed, Ahri, Malzahar, Vladimir, Talon, Pyke, and a new member, Mordekaiser. It should come as no surprise to see Mord added to our S tier because he's already an S+ tier in our top lane. However, he is ranked slightly lower in our mid lane due to a lot of matchups being less favorable for him. If you want to learn how to play Mordekaiser, then check out our previous video on the only Mord guide you'll ever need. Our A tier remains pretty similar to the one we had previously with the exception of a new champion, Camille. If you watched our previous videos such as OP Korean builds, or counter picks in 9.12, or unique builds in patch 9.11, you would have noticed that Camille mid lane has seen a ton of play. every single professional mid laner around the world, whether it's Korea, Europe, North America, or China, have been spamming Camille mid recently. If you want to learn more about how to play Camille mid, then you should watch our previous video on OP Korean builds in patch 9.12, where we go over all the 7 Camille mid builds. You should expect to see her soon in the mid lane for pro play because she's such a good pick right now. Try her out and let us know how that goes down below. Ryze recently received a rework and he's actually not doing too bad. Although his playstyle was nerfed for competitive play, his solo queue playstyle has been improved slightly, and our analysts predict he'll make his way into the C tier within the coming weeks. The removal of his shield has made it harder for Ryze to win certain matchups, but the changes made to his E has improved his consistency in the mid lane. For now, Ryze will be in our D tier. Next up, let's talk about Akali. Once again, Akali sees a 3 to 4% increase in win rate for the mid lane. This is due to most Akali players dropping her from their champion pools, and only Akali mains sticking with her. She is still a D tier pick at best, and will likely stay that way until she gets changed. However, there is some good news. Akali is confirmed for some buffs in the coming weeks, and we'll keep you guys updated on our next upcoming changes video. Press that sub button. Lastly, let's talk about some bad news. It's safe to say that Sylas has been completely gutted. He is holding on to a 41% win rate in the mid lane, which is only 1% higher than his abysmal top lane win rate. The Riot Balance team should have been more cautious when it comes to nerfing a mid laner's wave clear, especially in this meta, because it can have a serious impact on their win rate. On top of that, the nerfs made to Sylas' E was a bit too much, and that ability is just super weak now. Like we mentioned in our top lane section, stay away from this champion for patch 9.12. He will only lose you LP and is not a good pick for solo queue. Let's move on to the AD carries. The AD carry tier list sees a lot of changes compared to the one we had at the start of the patch. Although there were a few balance changes made in patch 9.12, the AD carry meta has shifted a tiny bit. In our S+ tier, we have the one and only Sivir. Sivir is sitting at the highest win rate in the bottom lane with a whopping 22% pick rate. That is almost unheard of for AD carries. She's definitely the most dominant marksman right now, and you should add her to your champion pool ASAP. In our S tier, we welcome a new member, Caitlyn. Caitlyn recently received a small buff to her base AD, and it's actually impacted her win rate quite a bit. She safely made it to our S tier due to this small buff, and she'll likely stay there for the next coming weeks. Her ability to bully out laners with her long range and poke is crucial versus those scaling champions in the bottom lane. Our other S tier champions are Draven, Jinx, Kai'Sa, Ezreal, and Xayah. All of these champions are great pickups for this patch, and you should try out a handful of them to maximize your chances at winning more ranked games. Alright, now finally on to supports. The support tier list sees quite a few changes compared to our previous one. In our S+ tier, we welcome a new member, Karma. Karma recently received a buff to her Q and E, which has shot up her win rate significantly. She's one of the strongest champions in the game for both support and top lane right now, and she's a strong contender to overtake Lux at the top of S+ tier. Speaking of Lux, well, she's still OP. Her Aftershock build removes her only weakness in the game, which is her lack of tank stats, and she's sitting at the top of our S+ tier. Lux is the strongest support in the game currently and will probably need a nerf soon. In our S tier, we have Nautilus, Nami, Janna, Thresh, Pyke, and a new member, Sona. Sona's always been a strong contender to make the push for our S tier, and has finally done that in patch 9.12. With champions like Janna, Nami, and Lulu seeing more play, Sona has become the perfect lane bully to completely dominate the bottom lane. Give her a try out and let us know how that goes down below. That's it for our mid-patch analysis video for patch 9.12. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then please leave it a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to be notified for the next one. Also, make sure to check out our previous videos on the top 6 best jungle paths and OP Korean builds for patch 9.12 if you want to maximize your chances at winning. If you guys are interested in seeing massive improvements to your rank this season, then please check out ProGuides.com using the description link below. That's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck in your next few games, and we'll see you on the Rift.